get to riff those tracks. Why you always gotta pick Rifftrax? It's your lucky day, it's time for Rifftrax.
Hello, I'm Faith, and welcome to Faith's Take, where I talk about anything and everything that I find interesting. And welcome to episode 39 of Every Rifftrax Short Reviewed, where I take 5 Rifftrax shorts in chronological order, review them, and give them a rating between 1 and 5, with the points being good, great, awesome, fantastic, and spectacular, because I don't think a bad Rifftrax short exists. Allow me to apologize for the lack of reviews lately, especially all the Christmas ones I'd promised. To be 100% open and honest with you guys, I've been trying out a new anxiety and depression medication that has only very recently kicked in, so I've been way behind on my projects. But I'm back at it now with some more hilarious shorts for you guys, so let's dive right into episode 39 of Every Rifftrax Short Reviewed. Number 191, The Day I Died, from April 12th, 2013.
It sure was a great day to be alive.
Well, time to die.
This is one of those shorts where they spoil the plot in the title, but allow me to give you some more details. It's a bright sunny day, and a blonde kid stuck in slow motion drives his brand new car to the beach to hang out with some friends. And even without the spoilery title, you guys know by now just how most educational shorts that start at hopeful and optimistic tend to end up. What starts out as innocent summer fun quickly devolves into underage drinking, and our protagonist becomes more than a little intoxicated. He tries to drive home on his own, and the unsettled title can clue you in onto what happens next.
The day I died was a great day for the beach.
Not so good for me, though.
One of those super days. All bright and sunny.
Full of synth music.
I was feeling now I was getting a real bang out of showing it off.
That's right, folks. A compact sedan. Drink it in.
I was just kind of walking up the beach. And after a while, I ran into some kids I knew from school.
I wondered if they were as heavily sedated as me.
They thought my car was pretty decent. It made me feel kind of big.
They kept calling it a POS. That means positive, I think.
We were really having a ball.
But then I acted like a selfish jerk and died.
Later, the girls got out the cold drinks and donuts they'd brought along. Pretty soon we were having a regular little party.
Donuts, woo!
Kidding around about how the donuts were powdered with sand instead of sugar.
Sure, our comedy's edgy, but we don't care whose toes we step on.
Yep, it wasn't 7-Up. It was vodka. Vodka he'd swiped from his folks.
Might have been Windex. We didn't care.
I don't remember exactly how many I had.
And I certainly don't remember eating my hair.
I'll see you in class tomorrow. Oh, right. Dying.
Okay, fine. More dying for me.
I still don't know exactly how the accident happened.
Well, yeah, because, dead.
What I was trying to prove, I'll never know.
I think it might have been Planck's constant.
But here I was,
Inconsiderate.
passing this lady creeping along in a Mercedes.
She had a rocket launcher!
Oh my God, I remember how I saw her face clearly. Frozen in horror.
It's not a lady, that's Beau Bridges.
Okay, so the lesson is never pass old ladies.
Who are Beau Bridges?
After being officially declared dead by the emergency crew, we get to see all the grisly details of the aftermath. His parents identifying his body at the morgue, the open casket funeral where we see his family and friends still in shock at the untimely passing, and finally his casket being lowered into the ground. And that's it. It's not a bad dream or anything, it's all real, and we all get our big dose of depression for the day.
My poor car. Totaled. And I just had it a week. I paid for it myself. Totaled.
Now my soul left my body, and now I'm in hell. Great.
All right, get him on a clean stretcher. You know what? Let's just chuck him on the street here.
I haven't lived yet. I can't be dead.
Look at him, his video games? It's just not fair.
And poor Dad. He looks so shook.
What the hell are you talking about? He looks like a calm, bland 70s newscaster.
He's telling the guy in charge. Yes, he is my son.
Yes, I'm Blacko the Clown.
But this boy, this fine boy,
It wasn't fine, I sucked.
who died so young, so needlessly.
Yeah, Pastor here. I never said needlessly. I described it as sad, but quite inevitable.
All All my relatives and friends past the casket.
There's my girlfriend, Mrs. B. Schrucksteiner.
My kid sisters are in a daze. Grandma's so sad. So sad.
So old and so sad.
It can't be true.
Also, the padding in this coffin is pretty thin. You couldn't pony up the cash for a little more stuffing. Ugh.
I want to laugh and run again. I want to sing and dance.
When the hell were you ever singing and dancing, you little freak?
At the end of everything?
Everything? The end of puka shell necklaces, Farrah Fawcett Majors posters, and the TV show Heck Ramsay starring Richard Boone?
I tell you, I'm not dead. Not really dead.
I'm only mostly dead.
While the subject matter is some of the darkest you'll find in the Rifftrax library, thanks to our riffers, it's also one of the best, and I've got to give it a 5 out of 5.
My funeral. It was weird.
Especially Uncle Herb wearing that green pantsuit.
The preacher talked about this.
Number 192, Storytelling. Can you tell it in order? From April 30th, 2013.
There.
Come on, kids, hang out and learn with a clown in his dark room of infinite despair.
When it comes to Coronet shorts, we've seen it all, from the boring and mundane to the Mr. Bungle levels of insanity. But none of those shorts have united boredom and terror quite as well as this one. We have an awfully voiced and maniacal-looking clown teaching kids how to tell stories in the right order, but the stories are the most plain Jane events you've ever heard of. I've never been so simultaneously horrified and borderline comatose in my life.
Coronet, when time itself is dead, we'll still be making shorts.
This is the story of a game. It's fun
Whoa.
to play. And
Hey.
we're going to show you how to play the game.
This thing's hopelessly out of order already. Start over. Holy God, what is happening?
But that isn't the game we're going to play. No, sirree.
I need an adult!
Play this new game, and the game is called
A wrong that can never be undone, guy.
Happened. Abracadabra!
A milk carton picture of my last victim!
This is the story about what happens when Jim's bedtime comes.
What? Oh, Mr. Clown, please, I beg of you, stop this now!
When he says his prayers and gets into bed.
Oh, say some extra prayers, Jim. I'm still nervous about where this is headed. I'll pray too.
After he's in bed, Mother comes and tucks him in.
Sleep tight in the featureless gray hellscape we inhabit,
Goes
sweetie.
to sleep. Jim got undressed and put on his pajamas.
Yeah, it really was a hell of a story, wasn't it?
So, then you try to remember what happened first.
It's a great game because it's really easy and impossibly dull.
After showing us how to draw pictures to tell stories, and then literally just remembering an experience that happened at an uneventful birthday party, the clown tells us yet another non-story of when a boy named Jim needed to find a rubber band. That's honestly the best MacGuffin this painted-faced weirdo could come up with for the poor kids who had to unknowingly sit through this garbage on a day that was too rainy to go outside for recess.
Could you tell about a birthday party that you went to? Huh?
What was the address of the party?
Maybe like
Lots of
this.
kids there?
Could you tell what happened first at the party?
Mom heeded her daughter's pleas and canceled the clown?
Another way to play the game is to draw pictures.
This game is worse than Hi-Ho Cheerio.
Pictures that one day Jim was playing with his airplane.
Suck it, dog. You're yesterday's news.
So Jim told Abby to wait until he came back. Then he went to look for a new rubber band.
And oh God, I'm having a stroke, kids.
First, Jim came to a barber shop.
It's the natural place to obtain rubber bands.
Jim, do you have a rubber band?
No, but I can paint you some melting clocks.
No. Then Jim saw a man painting a fence.
The stick figure family that lived in the house had hired him.
Do you have a rubber band?
Why do I look like a barber?
Then the man said, I will do something else for you.
Run, Jim.
Oh,
I will
Jim.
paint She decided to look for Jim.
Better check the clown's van.
He said, and look, I have a new rubber band. Woo!
Kid, why are you talking like that?
Play with my airplane again.
Oh, God, you've been hanging out with that clown again, haven't you?
And that is the end of the story.
And what a story.
Coronet may have lost their minds, but that just paves the way for some great riffing that's worthy of a 4 out of 5.
Coronet, even we don't know what the hell that just was.
Number 193, Maintaining Classroom Discipline for May 15th, 2013.
This is the poorest class I've had in a long, long time.
And I've sucked at this for years.
Most of you have no foundation at all.
Most of us have had awful teachers at one point or another. After being homeschooled, I got my fair share of bad educators during my college career. And the worst thing they all had in common was this. They can't see any of their own faults as teachers and blame every single issue on their students just being incompetent. And that's exactly what happens in this short as math teacher Mr. Grimes is failing over half of his class. Does he self-reflect at all and realize, maybe not over half of these kids are stupid, maybe I just suck as a teacher? Nope, he just gives them all detention instead.
At Hogwarts, this is easily accomplished simply by killing a few students.
The vast majority of behavior problems in the classroom involve minor breaches of discipline.
And serious lack of good judgment in hairstyles.
Mr. Grimes, mathematics teacher, is displeased with the progress of his 9th grade class in mathematics.
Because he's teaching them history.
See what low grade you made on your weekly mathematics test. More than half of you failed.
Almost 1/3.
Most of those who passed, I have to leave for a few minutes. Now I want you to open your books.
Don't read them. Did I say read them?
I can't make any sense out of this. I might as well quit.
I'm just gonna be drafted anyway.
He's got me scared to death.
He called home and threatened my dog.
I can't come. I got a newspaper I have to do. I got football practice.
We both have voice and mousening lessons.
I have a piano lesson. I can't listen. I think he's horrible.
Stop that whispering.
Or I'll give you something to whisper about.
Many of you failed to hand in your homework yesterday.
Oh, the classic homework failure honk.
What is this? Stop that noise.
Felix Unger, get up here now.
2 detentions. 3 detentions.
In a knot in the box.
Leave this room and don't come back until you're ready to apologize to me.
Okay, see you in a month.
The narrator begins to compare what Grimes has actually been doing to what he should have been doing this whole time. Like, actually teaching his students about the subjects they're supposed to be learning and struggling with. It shows what a difference a teacher that forces you to teach yourself and then erupts from rage when you don't, versus a teacher who actually teaches you can make.
Well, this is going to get us nowhere.
Who said that?
Maybe we'd better go back to see if we can't find some of the causes of this undesirable learning situation.
First, let's fold space and time.
I tell you right now that unless you get over your lazy habits and come up to the standards I have set for this class, many of you will have the pleasure of repeating this course next semester.
What kind of motivation is this?
Yeah, why isn't he beating them?
Oh, come now, Mr. Grimes. By taking it out on the boy, aren't you covering up a symptom of your own deficiency?
Hey, who's narrating my class?
Suppose Mr. Grimes had tried another approach.
Which, for argument's sake, we'll call not being a dick.
Grades you made on this test. Ratio is commonly used in everyday life. Mother uses it in the kitchen when she takes a recipe for a big cake, uses proportional amounts of ingredients to make a little cake.
I live with my mother, is the point.
Now, you looked hurriedly at 4.5 and 1.5, said the answer was 3. That's where you fell into a trap.
Fine educators set traps for students.
Before you can...
I get the idea now. I sure messed up my test paper. I'm glad he's going over these questions. I'd never make head or tail out of them otherwise.
Is this a special post-lobotomy class?
I hope I do better next time. I'd hate to bring another paper like this home.
My parents cut my $10,000 monthly allowance by 5%.
Classroom control and learning efficiency are products of good teaching.
And individuality is a dangerous weed.
This short has always been one I go back to over and over again, and it gets a 4.5 out of 5.
For respect is a more desirable molder of behavior than fear.
And bribery has them both
The development of mutual
Number 194, RESCUEMAN for May 17th, 2013.
When I was your age, the only trips I took were to the principal's office.
A bitter bus driver? No, I've seen everything.
If I've learned anything this past decade, it's that the weirdest possible superheroes can become beloved if given the chance. We have talking trees and raccoons, a lovable dork who controls ants, and pigs with spidey powers, and they're all amazing. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for the so-called superhero of this short, RESCUEMAN, who, based on the rest of this short, is just a dude who pays attention to basic vehicle safety instructions. The story starts with little Scotty, who's obsessed with RESCUEMAN, preparing for his field trip to the airport, which really just turns into a glorified fire safety demonstration. Then he insists on learning all of his school bus's safety measures, so much so that he decides to dedicate his weekend to learning it all.
A dozen miners trapped deep underground. Their only hope? RESCUEMAN.
And his used copy of the Apocalypse Now soundtrack.
We'll record it, and you can watch the rest another time.
Ah, Beta, I've got the feeling we bet on the right horse.
Not almost. And then straight back here, young man, and get ready for bed.
Bed? It isn't even dark yet.
Except for in my soul.
I want you to get lunch money.
Check.
Shirt, pants, socks, shoes.
Check, 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 check.
Underoos?
I'm not hiding She-Ra underoos under the bed.
What are underoos?
Wow, and I'm only 7 years older than the suggested age range.
If you haven't had a good night's sleep, you won't enjoy the airport.
If you get a full night's sleep, the full-body pat-downs and invasive imaging techniques, they'll seem like a day at the amusement park.
And over there is a cargo plane that's carrying remaindered cardboard packing materials to Council Bluffs, Iowa.
Wow!
This is almost as much fun as our trip to the taxi depot.
This is the reason the airport has its own fire department and its own rescue unit.
Do they have a RESCUEMAN?
What? No, what are you for? This field trip is over.
The first thing the rescue squad would do would be to climb into their special heat-resistant suits.
Can we see the inside of a plane?
Why didn't we just take a trip to the fire department?
And they would race.
That's scary. It makes me not want to ride an airplane.
Oh, don't worry. Passengers likely die on impact, not in the fire.
Anything going wrong are very...
Hey, what's so fascinating back there?
The emergency door.
Really?
Did you take a propeller to the head today, Scotty?
Told us about.
Well, we're due for another drill next month, but if you're really interested, stop over this weekend and I'll show you how it's done.
I'm sleeping in the bus while I work some stuff out with the missus, so pop by anytime.
The best safety stuff goes on for quite a while, and though of course it's important for kids to know this stuff, Scotty could just have easily have learned it all if a ghost girl had just taught it to him. Regardless, Scotty is now so concerned about bus safety, he dreams of being in a crash with his classmates and becoming RESCUEMAN to save the day by opening the back door for them. What a hero. He does at least save the passed out bus driver, though. He then tells the bus driver about his dream the next morning, and the driver tells him that every kid should know this stuff and not just rely on others to save them. Pretty much telling Scotty he'll never be a hero like RESCUEMAN, and effectively destroying him and possibly ruining his sense of self-worth and imagination forever.
Say the engine was burning. Now, in that case, it wouldn't make sense to use this door because that would mean bringing kids right up close to the fire.
It could singe their underoos.
In that case, Now, you have to remember to duck your head so that you don't hit the door frame, and you have to remember to flex your knees when you jump. It'll cushion your landing.
Yeah, resist the urge to keep your knees locked and suffer a compound fracture.
Ever use both the front and the back exit?
Sure.
You're making all this up, aren't you?
Stuck at a railroad crossing. The ones in the back are different.
The corn! It's attacking!
Once you're out of the bus, it's important to get away from it.
Say goodbye, cut it off clean, get on with your life.
At least, but it bothers me that some students don't take those drills seriously.
Makes me so mad I want to drive the damn bus off a bridge!
Depend on them.
Good night, my grim, lifeless bedroom.
No doubt there's already RESCUEMAN, safety woman fanfic out there.
God, it is a nightmare.
RESCUEMAN.
It's dreamy.
Smoke's getting pretty bad. You better help Mr. Bishop.
Because I won't lift a finger.
It's a good thing Mr. Bishop weighs only 37 pounds.
Oh, thank you, Scotty. Let's not mention this part to the bus company, okay?
Morning, Scotty.
Just cleaning my entire bus with Windex.
Mr. Bishop! I had this dream last night. There was a bus wreck, and I was RESCUEMAN.
And you just stated like an old lady.
But in a real emergency, there'd have to be a whole busload of you.
Not just stupid, selfish you.
What do you mean?
Why are you crushing my dream?
Everyone has to be a hero.
So you see, Scotty, your dream was pretty worthless.
This semi-heroic short safely earns itself a 4.5 out of 5.
It wouldn't make sense to use this door because that would mean bringing kids right up close to the fire.
Kids, if your school bus driver haunts your dreams, seek help.
Number 195, Goodbye Weeds, from June 5th, 2013.
It will do the job for you as thoroughly as it does for well-known educational centers, where carefully maintained grounds add charm and loveliness to their campuses.
A degree from well-known educational center can help land you a job at a reputable career place.
Now, I don't know much about lawn care or weed whacking, but I'm pretty sure the world didn't need an 18-minute presentation over how to get rid of them. But since no one asked me, here we have Goodbye Weeds. We open with a few cartoon guys from centuries past attempting to get rid of their garden weeds unsuccessfully. We then cut to their apparent live-action descendant Henry worrying about his own weeds. After spending the afternoon anger golfing, he notices how lush the golf course is and covets it.
Gonna say goodbye to weeds, weedle-deedle-deedle-deedle-deedle-deeds. When the weeds are gone, have a nice green lawn and a nasty skin disease. And the bees all start to die, and the birds fall from the sky. Well, we sealed our fate, but our lawns look great as we kiss the world goodbye.
Might be overreacting a touch there.
Oh, am I?
Things were rough at the dawn of history, and Henry was no exception. But something else was even tougher than Henry.
Saber-toothed cat? Direwolf?
Right? Weeds.
Of course. Silly me.
Poor old Henry. Low man on the totem pole of progress.
Long before totem poles or the name Henry were invented.
Not near civilization had progressed to where local bigwigs couldn't for the life of them see how things could possibly be any better.
Local bigwigs of Babylon this fall on the History Channel.
On that idea.
Henry was very weak, and his family line died with him.
Gone, all gone. And we can't shed a single tear over their going.
I'll manage your emotional life, folks. Don't worry.
Easy.
Oh, I hate being descended from cartoon people.
This is Saturday afternoon. I play golf.
With that creepy guy who's always ranting about springs.
Fred Mertz, a pioneer with Agent Orange.
God damn you, golf skill sapping weeds!
You should try loosening your grip. It's very helpful sometimes. Huh? Like this.
Show me, aged hobo lumberjack.
It's a weed killer.
Oh, one of those things.
He's disdainful of weed killer? Odd stance.
I think I've got his character. He's a rage-filled, incompetent idiot who's extremely skeptical about weed killers.
We cut to later that afternoon, where a friend of Henry's introduces him to a special weed killer that makes the weeds kill themselves and goes into excruciatingly long detail about it. Henry goes back home to share his thrilling discovery with his rightfully bored and skeptical wife. He then gives her a step-by-step demonstration on how to use it, though it's so simple I'm pretty sure a trained monkey would be able to figure it out. Finally, her narrator shows us some stock footage of areas with great lawns and informs us that a weed-free patch of grass is one of the greatest things to find in this otherwise hollow world.
How in the world do you do it? My yard?
Oh, come on, take a look.
Check out the fresh shipment of lawn jockeys that just came in, too.
I do all this with just that bottle of weed killer and 13 Mexican gardeners.
Just what does this stuff do? How does it work?
Well, it causes the weeds to commit suicide.
Gives them a tiny shotgun and makes them watch lots of French cinema.
Well, years of research went into the job. Hundreds on hundreds of experiments. Large sums of money. And the result is literally a miracle of science.
Vaccines, refrigeration, go to hell.
Here's what happens.
Keep in mind, this is his golf buddy describing all this to him.
And then the narrator says, the list of weeds it kills is longer than your arm. Now, picture a cartoon dandelion.
The weed is completely shriveled, died, and rotted away. Gone for good. It can never reappear later.
I like to play with the corpse. That's fun.
The reaction of ragweed is more emphatic, and the result inevitable.
Just like the eventual dominance of National Socialism. I'm not a Nazi agent!
Weed no more, my lady. Oh, weed no more for me.
Early anthem of the DARE campaign.
It's Weed No More, designed especially to take the backbreak out of lawn care, sweeten the disposition, and strengthen the soul.
It's our God now, and you will respect it.
This is their best date in years, sadly.
Wherever the weeds are.
Henry.
I saw you trying on my brassiere.
It doesn't work.
Don't try to answer, Henry. You just go on spraying that lawn of yours.
She doesn't deserve an answer. It's bad enough she can vote.
Weed No More won't fail you, any more than it failed on the immaculate turf of the famed Canterbury Golf Club in Cleveland.
If you've never heard of it, you're probably not rich and have bigger problems than a few weeds in your giant lawn.
That's right. Just leave it to Weed No More from now on. That's all you have to do.
Sit back and let Weed No More fix your lawn, do your taxes, raise your kids.
Make love to your wife.
End of the third week. Complete success.
As illustrated by these non-close-up shots, which could just as easily be from the beginning of the short.
La-ti-da, happy day. What the? Again? But why? I'm just a flower. I'm just trying to be pretty. Oh, God, I did my best to live a good life. I love you all.
This infomercial for ridding yourself of crabgrass is ridiculously cheesy, and that's why I love it so much. And it gets a 4.5 out of 5.
End of week number 2. And things look even better. It won't be long now.
Thanks to Weed No More, you get to wait 2 weeks to still pull the weed out by hand instead of with a tool. Look, just trust us, it's definitely better.
As always, thank you all so much for watching, and special thanks to all my lovely Patreon supporters, including Jackie Ball, Kevin Nata, Victor Cordova, Nicholas Ashworth, and Tony Briscato, and to each and every one of you for the support the last couple months. I know things have been a little rough, but I'm really trying to get back on track, and knowing that all of you guys are rooting for me really makes all the difference. I've actually already started working on my next script for the review of Rifftrax's A Talking Cat, so I'm very excited to be moving on with these new videos. Also, if you're a fan of the Muppets, or would at least like to see what I can do in text rather than just videos, I've actually written an article for a fan site called The Muppet Mindset. It's actually the first in a series that I'll be writing for him, so please go check it out. I'll put the link in the description. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys later. And even without the spoilery title, you guys know by now that when most educational shorts start out hopeful and optimistic, you know how... But none of those shorts have united border... Then he insists on learning all of his school bus's safety measures. I know you guys can't hear it, but the wind outside is like howlingly loud right now. It's weird. For the poor saps who had to unknowingly sit through this on days where it was too rainy to go outside for recess. Rudy, you're making too much noise while I'm recording.